Well, Lancaster City is a very old city. Really, it was laid out in the 1730s. Basically hasn't expanded a whole lot since it was laid out. It's 7 square miles, but really within 4 square miles, 60,000 people live. The Green Infrastructure Plan was in response to a problem that we were part of, and that is the pollution of the Chesapeake Bay. We have an old combined stormwater wastewater system where basically we take rainwater, mix it with sewage, and pollute it. Then we send it down to a treatment plant and try to take the pollutants out that we have put in.
All of that combined flow goes to our treatment plant, and 85% of the time we can capture all of that storm flow in addition to the sanitary flow and treat it. That 15% of the time where it's just huge downpours, they overwhelm the system, and we cannot treat all of that at the treatment plant without overflowing the tanks at the treatment plant.
In a heavy thunderstorm, a lot of rainfall, short duration, this entire cavity, this CSO culvert, will become full of stormwater as it discharges to the river. And at the same time, we're transmitting as much flow as possible to the wastewater treatment plant for treatment.
We discharge about 750 million gallons a year in overflow that we can't capture and treat at the treatment plant. Our cost to treat is about $1 a thousand gallons. So if we were to store all of that, we would still have to treat that, and that would cost about $750,000 a year.
There's 2 alternatives generally, green infrastructure and gray infrastructure. Gray infrastructure would say you would hold that combined stormwater, wastewater, hold it in huge holding tanks, and then when you had the capacity, you'd clean it up and put it in the river. Our estimated cost for that is around $300 million.
We did a green infrastructure plan. We completed that last year. That plan showed that we could do enough green projects throughout the city to effectively manage that storm flow and use the natural environment to treat it at a cost of $140 million.
First of all, it seemed foolish to us to take stormwater, rain, and pollute it and then try to clean it up. The Green Infrastructure Program, one of its primary goals is to take stormwater and infiltrate it back into the soil rather than put it in a combined wastewater stormwater system.
The City of Lancaster has a 25-year strategy, green infrastructure being green roofs, permeable paving, rain gardens, bioretention areas, rain barrels, dry wells, things of that nature. We
currently have funding, $7 million to do about 50 projects, both on public and private lands, to demonstrate to EPA how we can do this.
TELUS 360 is one of 9 vegetated roofs that have been installed in Lancaster City over the last 3 years, totaling over 77,000 square feet of vegetation.
We put in a green roof. We thought it'd be cool. We had never done one. We're contractors is our background, and somebody, I think it was Fritz, actually came up with the idea that they were doing green roofs around town, and it just sounded like a good idea. There's just something nice about having the sounds of the city but having the greenscape all around you that we thought we'd like it. It adds also life to our building in that we were doing a new roof anyway. It should add about 15 years onto the length of that roof. It protects from sunlight, obviously. It's good for the environment, and it's reducing the water going into Chesapeake Bay here and the watershed from the city. So a bunch of reasons really that were all good. We couldn't find any real negative reasons not to do it. The town was tremendously helpful and supportful in us doing the work, so we just said, why not?
This roof itself, you can see there's still some patches of bare ground. Was installed just less than a year ago, and I'd say we're at 60% growth. In the next 2 to 3 years, this will be fully grown in. Typically, a roof like this captures and retains between 50 and 70% of rainfalls. It slows down up to 90% of the rain that hits it, which is extremely important for Lancaster City.
As we do each park improvement, we're including green infrastructure. We're trying to get stormwater to infuse.
We're rebuilding a basketball court. What if we disconnected a lot of the storm drains on the streets that surround the park and pipe all that storm flow into a deeper gravel bed underneath the basketball court? We're already rebuilding the basketball court. And that's how we're really trying to approach this in terms of integrated infrastructure and trying to build green as we're doing other projects. And we were able to capture 750,000 gallons within that basketball court from the surrounding streets and infiltrate that into the ground underneath the basketball court. And we made the basketball court porous, so any rainwater that falls on the basketball court will infiltrate into that gravel bed as well. We were able to do that at a cost of less than 16 cents per gallon of stormwater that we're capturing, compared to 30 cents for a storage tank.
You know, as shown by this park, it can not only be appropriate that we do these things, it can also be fun, and it can also really improve the visual aspects of the park. I mean, this park is more beautiful now than it has ever been. It's also more ecologically appropriate than it has ever been. Beauty's only skin deep, but here it's more than skin deep. It's infiltration deep. We see more and more rain barrels all over the city. Last year in our garden, we didn't turn a hose on. We watered the entire garden out of the rain barrels.
What we have here is a diverter that's coming directly from the downspout into the barrels. So essentially what's happening is this barrel's filling up, and then there's an overflow right behind here which is hidden, and then this barrel fills up, and then because those are filled up, essentially puts water back into the downspout. It's hands-free. You should never have to worry about it.
Tree canopy is important because it intercepts storm flow and doesn't allow it to get into the combined system. We have a 25% tree canopy. And usually for urban centers, you want to be at least 40% tree canopy, and that's over 6,000 trees that we have to plant.
The City of Lancaster has a tree planting program. We hold 2 plantings twice a year, in the spring and in the fall. And the city offers the property owners of Lancaster the opportunity to participate in the program. There's 20 different varieties of trees that they can choose from to plant in front of their homes within the city's right-of-way. With our program, we get the trees wholesale, and that's all the people pay for is the wholesale price of the tree.
There has been research that shows that there are multiple benefits related to increase in property values, increase in rental rates, and increase in retail sales in communities that are lined with trees, in homes that are near parks and greenways. There's also a huge social impact that comes along with providing well-maintained, beautiful green spaces for everyone in the community. Everything is lifted when you look at a strategy like green infrastructure and you apply it through an entire community.
You know, they talk about sustainability. Around here we talk about stewardship. We don't really have a right to ruin the water, to ruin the Chesapeake Bay, to ruin our natural environment, and then leave that for future generations. So ethically and morally, I think we have an obligation to go ahead and do what we can to leave as small a footprint as we can on the earth, and so there's as much as possible for future generations to enjoy the way we do.